Good afternoon, villagers. This is Arnie with Pepper Tree Villa. How are you doing? Obviously, you see that there is someone else here in the stream. I'd like to introduce to you Jeff. Jeff, say hi.
Hey, everybody.
So, how do you know me?
So, you are one of my uncles. So, I've known you for a pretty long time.
Yep. For you Disney fanatics out there, Jeff's birthday is the same day as the opening of Disney MGM Studios in Florida.
I'm so glad to know that my birthday is associated with something like that.
Hey, history is my kind of thing. So
that's true. I mean,
I'm constantly doing stuff like this. So everyone, thank you for being here today. How are you? How are y'all doing? I hope you're all having a good Sunday. My day's actually been pretty good. It's been productive. How about you, Jeff?
Pretty good. Yeah. Had work this morning, but you know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, tell us, what do you do for a living? What do you do
for
work?
So I was recently approved for ordination. I am an ordained minister in the Evangelical Covenant Church, and I do student ministry. So I do junior high, high school, and college students. So this morning I was at church teaching and stuff like that. So yeah, early morning we gather at 8 a.m. on Sundays to just go over the morning and stuff like that. And for those of you who have any idea what student ministry is or what it requires, an 8 a.m. wake up is very early. So, yeah, every Sunday, 8 a.m. I got to get up and go to a pastor's meeting. So, yeah, that's what I do.
And where do you do it?
So I currently serve at Community Covenant Church in Santa Barbara, California. I've been here for about 2.5 years now, going on 3. So, yeah, finally starting to settle in, get to know my students, and a funny story about my lead pastor, my boss. He was actually a groomsman in my parents' wedding. He and my mom and my uncles grew up with him. His name's Eric, and it was a very small world when I found out that I would be working for one of my family's close friends. So yeah.
It's true. Okay, let me do a chat check here. We've got Mike Wheeler in the chat so far. I see Anthony Manzano. Jeff of Only Passengers is here. I see Noah, the Disney World fan. Thank you, Noah, for being here. Hi, Samantha. Great to have you. Dances with Goofy Adventures is here. Rachel Fithian is here as well. And Pam's fam. Pam, thank you for being here. And Carlos, the Disney Freak, is here as well. So great. That's great seeing everyone here. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. For those of you that missed the first introduction, this is my nephew, Jeff. And he's going to be joining me today because he's got a very specific reason to be here, but we'll get into that in just a bit. Let me go ahead and give you some Disney history because you're watching the Daily Dose of Disney. How are you all doing? Hope you're all having a great day. For me, it's been fun. Jeff seems to be sipping down the nectar of the gods there. So yeah. Gotta love me some Diet Coke.
Oh yeah, I got a fridge full right next to me. So
yeah, and for the record, they are not a sponsor of this show.
Not yet.
You guys don't have to say the adventures part. I know it doesn't really roll well. It's more for business stuff. You got it, Dances with Goofy. I'll keep it at that. Thanks for saying that. So on this day in 1940, we're talking February 9th, 1940, Pinocchio opened in Los Angeles. This was 2 days after the premiere of the movie Pinocchio in New York. And the film eventually won 2 Oscars. It won for Best Score and for Best Song. And of course, Best Song was the song When You Wish Upon a Star. That is like a theme song for the whole company. So, Jeff, this is a film from before you were born, ways before you were born. 1979, a movie called The North Avenue Irregulars premiered in theaters on this day. And I'll be honest, I still have never seen this movie.
I've never even heard of that movie.
It is a movie. It's about a minister and a group of church ladies that are willing to do anything to drive out some crooks that have set up operations in a small town.
Oh.
So it's right up your alley, Jeff.
Yeah, no, it kind of sounds almost like a Music Man type vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Just get them out of town as soon as they can. So they'll do anything, no matter how wacky.
Trouble right here in River City.
They want to get rid of the ne'er-do-wells.
The hooligans.
The hooligans, yeah. Okay, let's move forward to 1986. We're getting closer to your time, Jeff. Magic Journeys, the 3D film, it actually closed on this day at Epcot's Journey into Imagination Pavilion. So,
Okay.
You've never heard of that film, have you, Jeff?
No.
Okay. The Sherman Brothers, the guys that wrote It's a Small World?
Yeah.
They wrote the theme song for that movie called Magic Journeys.
Oh.
And it's a song about a film through the eyes of a child. So you see all sorts of weird things. I see really creepy clowns in this movie. I remember this when this movie first came out at Epcot. They brought it over to Disneyland, and it would play just at night in the Space Mountain stage area before they enclosed the theater, and it became the theater for Captain EO.
Oh, okay.
That's where they did Magic Journeys, and that was that was in the mid '80s. So
sure.
Okay. Now, 1996, on this day, the Disney Institute opened at Walt Disney World. Now, this was an area that would offer 60 programs, 8 different areas such as animation and culinary arts, and even rock climbing. And the guests would stay in the villas of that area. It was previously part of the Disney Village. It was called the Disney Village Resort prior to that, but they changed it to the Disney Institute. And it was a 75-acre area, 450 some odd rooms. But it allowed people to have a vacation with just a dose of educational entertainment or edutainment.
It's like synergy.
Synergy, exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Okay, and then we just had someone join here, Phantasmic Chronicles. Tony, how you doing? This is my nephew, Jeff, if you hadn't heard that yet.
Hey.
Okay, let's go ahead and move forward to 2001. Now, this one I know you saw, even though, well, you were very little when it came out.
Okay.
In 2001, there was a fireworks show called Believe There's Magic in the Stars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, and it started for the 45th anniversary. It ran for 5 years. 4 or 5. Yeah, about 5 years. They ran it from 2000 to 2004, and then in 2005 they started doing the retrospective for the 50th anniversary, which was a really cool fireworks show.
Sure. So
I believe they're Magic in the Stars.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
Out of all the fireworks displays and shows that you've seen at Disneyland, what is your top 2?
Top 2. Well, the 50th anniversary show, which was called I believe it was called Dreams Come True.
Okay.
That's absolutely my favorite show that they've done at Disneyland for fireworks.
Okay.
But then the second would probably be There's Magic in the Stars. I do like Believe in Holiday Magic. They do that every year. So it's very good. But I really liked There's Magic in the Stars.
Yeah, sure.
It was a great show. Also in this year, 2001, this is the day after the opening of California Adventure.
Nice.
Remember, we went to California Adventure in April of that year, and we looked around, and there really wasn't much to do.
Right. Yeah, because there wasn't, I mean, you walked over to Paradise Pier, and even Paradise Pier wasn't as glamorous as it is now. I mean,
it was bland.
It was very bland. I mean, Grizzly River one was really cool, but I feel like once you get into the pavilion at California Adventure and you turn to the right, the entrance area was really cool, but then you go over to where Soarin' Over California is and Grizzly River Run, and that was pretty much like the coolest. Like I'm not a fan of Paradise Pier. I like Pixar Pier a lot better, but I'm a much bigger fan of the aviation theme, like the wilderness theme going on in the Grizzly River Run area. Like that area was like so well done aesthetically. Okay,
it's interesting that you say that aesthetically, and that's because those two areas, Condor Flats and Grizzly River Run area, those are the two areas that were specifically designed just by Imagineers.
Really? Okay. Yeah, because I was like, especially that you walk over to Condor Flats and you have that big like jet engine that sprays the mist down. Oh, it's so smart. It's such a good area.
It was very well themed. Yeah. Very, very good look. It felt right. It just felt like a Disney park.
Yeah.
The rest of it was bland and two-dimensional.
Right. And the area that was really a little bit disappointing to me when it first started out was Hollywood Backlot. They've done a lot of work to upgrade it, but like when it first came, it was kind of boring. I mean, Disney Animation Studios was really cool, but yeah, it was just kind of boring. Yeah, the animation building is definitely the best part of that area. Yeah. So.
But it was on this day that they looked at the numbers and they realized, we're in trouble. because the attendance figures, they were planning on having an estimate of 33,000 people in the park that day.
Okay.
They ended up with 14,000 tickets purchased and only 10,000 people in the park.
Whoa, rough.
Yeah, it was bad. Oh, Jeff, look at there. We've got PTV2. That's
Oh,
Benny.
Uncle Benny.
He says hi. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And the officials had prepared for 4 times the number of people that were there in the park that day.
Right.
They were planning on just lots and lots of hours, a lot of waiting in line, that kind of stuff. It never materialized. Nothing.
So what doomed it? Like, was it just an over assumption of people's interest, or was it what caused the dip in sales?
My theory is that it was twofold. One, it was bad word of mouth because they had done some pass holder previews.
Okay.
And some of the stuff wasn't working. It didn't look right. People found the park boring and bland. And then 2, they had hyped this park so much that on opening day, they thought it was going to be Armageddon, that the crowds were going to just descend on the Disneyland Resort and that you wouldn't be able to get in the park.
Right.
And just the opposite happened. No one came.
So was there, I mean, I don't know if you would know this or not, but was there plans for attractions and themes and stuff like that for Disneyland that they ended up transferring over to California Adventure to draw people in?
No.
Okay.
No. They what they did do was they actually cut the budget, and so when the park opened, there were fewer attractions than what were supposed to be there. And some of the attractions that were there were scaled back so far that it just became a movie. Golden Dreams, which starred Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
And she did the narrating and everything. That was supposed to be a show similar to the American Adventure at Epcot, where it's a full-on half-hour presentation with animatronics, big theater, really expensive show, very elaborate too, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, all I remember of that Golden California, is that what it was called?
Golden Dreams.
Golden Dreams. The only part I remember about that was the creepy statues on the wall that they would project the faces on to see like they were talking. Oh, that creeped me out so much the first time I saw it.
Calafia.
Oh,
it was the statue of Calafia.
It was weird. It was weird.
It was creepy. You're right. It was creepy. So now for this next fact, let me just grab something. I've got something on my desk over here. In 2005, on this day, a book was published that hit bookstores and things, and it was written by a guy named James B. Stewart, and it's called Disney War.
Oh.
This book talks about the scandals of the CEO, Michael Eisner, and all the management problems that were there at the time. This book was also key in fueling the fire of getting Michael Eisner ousted at Disney. So it's a great read. If you ever find this book, Disney War, give it a read. It's a very interesting book. I love this book. So okay, I've got some more facts here, but Jeff, let's go ahead and talk about why are you here? Why are you on the show today?
Well, first of all, it's been a long time coming because I've wanted to come on at some point. So I guess that's an apology for not coming on sooner. But one of the things I do in addition to pastoral ministry is I'm fascinated by stories, specifically comic books. I started an Instagram and a YouTube channel and a website called Thursday's Theology. And basically what I do is I take different aspects of video games and movie and comic books, and I look at where there might be some theology. Even though these things aren't specifically theological in nature, there are stories being told that have larger repercussions than just a comic story. So I've explored theology in comic books, and I've been so fascinated by it that I decided, you know what, I like to write. I like to write stories. I like to think in stories. And so let me give it a shot. So I have partnered with a guy named Zylan Moreno, who I want to give a shout out to. He's a fantastic illustrator out of Georgia, I believe, Georgia or Alabama, one of the southern states. And we've gotten together and we've produced a comic together. We launched the Kickstarter for it a few weeks ago, and we're trying to get people to support us to launch our very first comic book. It's a comic book called Fallen. And essentially what it is it tells the story of how Lucifer was cast out of heaven. So that is the synopsis. There's more information on the Kickstarter, pictures, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's our first comic book ever, and yeah, we're just looking for people to tell about it and hopefully get the support we need to make it a reality.
Awesome. See, Team Marie Photography has joined. Hey, how you doing? Good to have you here. Thank you for joining. See, Pam, if you could, Jeff, where can you find that Kickstarter link?
You can find it at thursdaystheology.com.
Okay. So Pam, if you could search that out and then find that link and then post it here in the chat, I'd really appreciate it. I have moderators here during the chat.
Oh, nice.
I see Mike Wheeler. Noah, you could do that as well. That would be fantastic. It's great to have everyone here. Let me go ahead and do a little bit more news here. In 2006, now I put out a tweet today and also on Instagram, thumbnail for this video of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And
you mean the creepiest of all Disney characters?
He's a character even before Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah, I know.
And at the time in 1928, early on in the year, Walt lost control of the character to Universal. There was a little stipulation in his contract that he didn't own the rights to the character at all. So he was very, very down and depressed about that on his way back from New York when he found this all out. When that happened, he was bound and determined that it was never going to happen to him again. So rather than try and pursue Oswald the Lucky Rabbit because that was a dead end, he created Mickey Mouse on his way back from New York. And so that was in February, March that those talks were going on with Oswald. So in spring and summer, he developed Mickey. They did 3 cartoons animation-wise. And then on November 18th, 1928, after playing around with sound, Mickey Mouse premiered at a theater in New York City with the film Steamboat Willie. That was actually the 3rd Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Oh.
But it was the first one with sound. So that was the first one that was released.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but during this whole time, I'm sure it still bothered Walt that he no longer had control of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. However, on this day in 2006, the Walt Disney Company had some kind of negotiation going on with NBC Universal at the time because Universal still owned the rights to that character. The Disney character, for Walt's sake, you know, some 40 years after his death, they wanted the rights of Oswald. So they actually did a negotiation with Universal, and they obtained the rights as part of a transaction that permitted Al Michaels to leave ESPN and go work for NBC. So they traded Al Michaels for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Wow.
It's a great story. I absolutely love that story. And that was in 2006. In 2012, Disney took possession of their ship that would eventually be called the Disney Fantasy. And then it was going to set sail for the first time on March 31st. So they got it in their hands so that they could do all the cosmetic stuff in the rooms and so forth. They worked really hard to get it done. So it was all done, ready to go for its inaugural cruise in late March of that year. And then finally, a year ago today, a gentleman by the name of Ron Miller passed away. Now you ask, who is Ron Miller? Ron Miller was president and CEO of the Walt Disney Company from 1978 to 1984. This was just before Michael Eisner took control of the company. Oh, Disney Boffins, thank you for joining. It is good to see you here. So there it is, Jeff. You've got your link right there. Check out Jeff's YouTube channel. There it is for Thursday's Theology. And you'll see that definitely. And then I will also be putting out a link to the Kickstarter campaign on Pepper Tree Villa for Instagram, not Instagram, but Twitter and also Facebook.
Nice.
So you can check it out and help Jeff with his Kickstarter campaign for his comic book.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you all.
Yeah. So Ron Miller was CEO from 78 to 84. He passed away at the age of 85 in Napa. He was married to Diane Disney Miller, And Diane and Ron were actually key people in getting the Walt Disney Family Museum open in San Francisco.
Which is a great museum, by the way.
It really is. It's a cool museum. There's a lot to do there, a lot to see, a lot to experience. One thing that Ron did during his 6 years as CEO was he was the one that spearheaded the effort of getting Walt Disney Home Video going. So we have him to thank for getting the videotapes in stores that we could enjoy watching everything.
Do we have him to thank for the Disney Vault as well?
Probably so. Probably so. Mike Wheeler, thank you so much for trying, though. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Pam. Glad you sent that to him. Thank you. So anyway, that's all I have for the history's sake. Now I just want to do some little wrap up here. Jeff, what have you got going this week? Are you doing a show on Thursday's Theology premiering this week?
Yeah, so episode 6 will be going up on Thursday, and we are in season 3. Yeah, season 3 already of Thursday's Theology. Episode 6, the first 6 episodes have been exploring the theology of phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this week will be the final movie in phase 2, and we'll be discussing the theology of Ant-Man. So we've covered Captain America the Winter Soldier, we've covered Thor the Dark World, we've covered Iron Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Age of Ultron. So we're going to finish up the series with Ant-Man. And then following, we're going to do a short 4-episode series on what I've entitled Christians Behaving Badly. So examples of Christians just not being good people. So, a little bit. But yeah, so we're keeping on chugging with Thursday's Theology.
The Orlando guy, Richard, thank you for joining. Good to have you here. It's always good to have Richard here. I'm glad Richard's there. He's one of our support channels.
Oh, nice.
We also have support from Two Real Geeks, D&G Explorers, More Sunshine Please, and Rob Fuzz.
Nice.
Those are our 5 support channels. They're always there to help us out. If we have a crisis or anything like that, they're there to help us out at the last minute and also help us out with resources.
That's awesome.
Richard's been key in helping us advertise our show, which is happening tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're doing PTV Live, and on PTV Live this week, it is The Taste of Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice.
So get ready for fun from Ben, Doug, and me, as well as Jeff. Your mom's going to be there too.
Oh, nice.
And Megan will be joining as well. First time since she gave birth to Sweetie. She'll be back on the air, and she'll actually be on screen, quite possibly on screen. And so then there'll also be Jim with More Sunshine Please and Rob of Rob Fuzz. And they will be all doing taste sampling of the different foods that we look at for that. And please, everyone here in the stream, please invite as many people as you can. Go out to your Facebook and your Twitter feeds, your Instagram, invite people to the show. We want to have tomorrow night's show have the biggest audience we've had yet. So we're looking to break our record. I think the most we've had at one time is 50. So we're looking at maybe at 60 or 70 people watching the show tomorrow night. So Jeff, that includes you. If you could watch us, I'd really appreciate it.
Nice.
But we're really looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then if we're lucky and a lot of key moments happen, we might even get an edited video from Richard, the Orlando guy. Or he will do a recap of the show. He made your mom look like a lush last time. So it was hysterical.
I'm sure he didn't have to work very hard to do it.
So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Daily Dose of Disney, again at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And then tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, The Taste of Valentine's Day. And I am very excited about it. By the way, I got to get going to edit a commercial for that. So, because I'm going to be posting a commercial a little later today for that.
Nice.
But Jeff, thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, villagers, for hearing me out. And yeah, if you guys want to help support local and amateur comics, go on, follow my Kickstarter for Fallen. And yeah, thank you for letting me crash your channel.
Oh, and looky who's here.
Oh,
There it is.
My child. Yes, that is true.
She says, not.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, let's not be so quick to disown me, Mom.
Jeff, it's been great having you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Uncle Arnie.
Okay, so stick around for just a second, okay?
Will do.
Okay, great. Everyone, thank you so much for joining for today's edition of the Daily Dose of Disney. I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific for another edition of PTV3D. In the meantime, everyone, have a magical evening and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everyone.